Okay, we'll call to order the May 27th, 2026 Planning and Zoning Board meeting. If you thought this was a soccer game or something, you're in the wrong place. And with that, Bobby, call the roll.
Rich Daly.
Present.
Gigi DeBeck.
Here.
Paul Fisher.
Here.
Robert Hartzell.
Here.
Tundra King.
Here.
Carla Coleman.
Here.
Fred Stacer.
Here. Okay, everybody's here tonight. No substitutes. At this point, as is our tradition, we'll have a 30-second moment of silence. So if you would, please be quiet for the next half a minute. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes of the April 22nd meeting. Chair will entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on or adjustments to the minutes? Seeing none, Bobby, call the roll on the minutes.
Tundra King.
Yes.
Paul Fisher.
Yes.
Rich Daly.
Yes.
Gigi DeBeck.
Yes.
Robert Hartzell.
Yes.
Carla Coleman.
Yes.
Fred Stacer.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Next item is individuals who want to testify tonight need to be placed under oath. So if you would at this time, please stand and be sworn in by the secretary. Thank you very much.
Please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Okay. First item on the agenda is the downtown Pompano Beach City Hall. It's a major site plan, P&Z 26-12502, and the owner, of course, is the Pompano Beach CRA and City of Pompano. Mr. Weems, good to see you tonight. Sure.
Good evening. Max Weems, Principal Planner Development Services. So the applicant, the city, represented by Roca Point and Keith, authorized by a master development agreement for the city, for the downtown development, is requesting major site plan approval in order to construct a new city hall building for the city of Pompano Beach, as well as a freestanding parking garage to serve the new city hall as well as the public. The property is located on the northwest corner of West Atlantic Boulevard and North Dixie Highway, just south of the bus terminal. The two structures will be connected by a shade structure providing ground floor pedestrian access across a through-block plaza, as well as a covered pedestrian bridge providing access between the second floor of the building and the third floor of the parking garage. Additional site improvements will include a new commission chambers and meeting room, outdoor amenity areas, new sidewalks, and substantial landscaping. Just to quickly go over the general zoning information that we always provide. It's in the downtown Pompano Overlay District with the DPTOC land use. It's 116,000 roughly square feet of the parking garage, and this says 616, it's actually 612 parking spaces. The garage is 64 feet while the building is 62 feet. And of course, this is a major site plan application that has received building design approval, went to DRC April 15th, and was approved by the AAC on May 5th. We did have the 12 review standards for the site plan provided in the staff report. I'd be happy to go over any of these as requested, and of course the applicant will be doing a thorough presentation. But before we get to that, I do want to go over the department's recommendation. So should the board find competent substantial evidence in the record in the presentation, the department recommends approval of the project subject to these 5 conditions of staff. So if required, a new plat that is inclusive of this development site, permitting such development and access to the site must be approved and recorded with Broward County records with all conditions of such application satisfied. 2, all existing roadways and easements that conflict with the development of this site must be abandoned and or relocated as appropriate. 3, all new roadways required for off-site connection of the development site must be permitted and constructed prior to the certificate of occupancy or completion issuance for any new structure. 4, the property of the development site shall be unified as a singular development site through a unity of title recorded with Broward County records. And 5, standard conditions of approval and or specifications required prior to a building permit or zoning compliance permit application, items A through E. This concludes the staff comments. Of course, I will be available for questions, but I'd encourage our representative's presentation first.
Okay. Any questions of staff, or would we go to the presentation right away? How many folks are gonna present?
I think we have
Just one?
one primary presenter, but then several available for questions.
Oh, okay. All right, great. Okay, yeah, exactly. All of our folks, go ahead. Name and address for the record, please.
Jonathan Ray, HOK, I'm a senior principal with the company, and I am based out of Tampa. All right. Appreciate you having us today. So, as mentioned, we're the HOK. HOK is an architecture firm. We've been around for 70 plus years. We originally started in 1955. More importantly, though, we've been around in Florida since 1984. We have over 1,800 employees worldwide, and we have a speciality in this specific building type. Here are some examples of some buildings that we have done in the past. The bottom left, the second one in, is a new building that we're doing for the Florida Department of Agriculture in Tallahassee currently. It's their new headquarters building. All right, it was asked that we include the criteria by which we are being reviewed for this particular meeting. Won't go into any of these in particular detail. Everybody is very familiar with these, but we did want to keep these as part of the slide deck in case we needed to come back and reference them at any point during the presentation. We have had more than 60 meetings with admin, public, commissioners, the various groups, the AAC. We've met with the BSO on a number of occasions to review SEPTED. We've had a number of meetings. We've gathered a lot of input from the various groups and have incorporated all of those into our design and our overall layout for the project. Some of those decisions that have been made as part of the input, part of the conversations that we've had with the various groups, is making a commission chambers that's different than what you have here. This is very rigid in its use, only has a singular function. A lot of the conversations we had was about having a flat floor, having movable furniture that can be reconfigured, adding a wall, movable partition that can come down and separate off the dais so that the rest of the space can be used for any number of gathering spaces. We also was asked about including a rooftop amenity, a rooftop garden, a space where people could gather and use it as an overall amenity for this overall development. Coming into the city and paying your bills, making that easier. So we had developed a one-stop shop lobby, so anybody can come to the building, make any payments, any interactions they need with the various departments, all in a singular location. You're not wandering around multiple floors of the same building or even having to go to different buildings. The public plaza, making this a functional space, a gathering space, a civic space for the community to enjoy, incorporating public art as part of that and various gathering spaces. And then also having conference rooms available that the public can get to if they do need to meet with any of the representatives of the city, that they can easily get to within off of the lobby space. So here's the overall concept master plan. Today we're just reviewing the building with the star on the right-hand side there. But you can see this is the overall master plan that's located just north of Atlantic Boulevard and just to the west of Dixie Highway. This is a view across that new development, mixed-use development, and activated green space, and you can see the city hall that we're proposing is at the end of the development there. All right, so here's a overall site plan. We had to flip this one to get it to fit more conveniently on the page, but north is to the right, Dixie Highway is to the bottom, Atlantic Boulevard's to the left. As you come down Dixie Boulevard, you'll turn right into Dixie Highway, you'll turn right into the parking garage. Parking garage is on the right-hand side. There'll be a large civic plaza between the city hall and the parking area that will have a covered canopy, protect against rain, and obviously our bright Florida sun. Here's a view from the corner of Atlantic and Dixie. And this would be a view from that activated plaza of the multi-functional district. Closer up of the building, the chambers is the piece immediately closest to us. That's sculpted feel with the administrative building behind. And of course, we had to include a Pompano fish as one of our renderings. Here's the lobby. As you're approaching the lobby, clear designation. As you're walking up to the building, it's where you enter. The security desk will have full view out across the plaza. And then here's the lobby inside. You can see that security desk on the left-hand side. The one-stop shop is just beyond the security. There is the chambers would be to the right, and you can see the stair from the lobby that would take you up to that amenity terrace. Here's a view of that amenity terrace that would look out over the activated green space. Here's a night view looking towards the garage from Dixie Highway, and you can see that there would be landscaping to keep vehicles from being able to pull into that plaza. That plaza is a pedestrian-only area. You can see also at the bottom of the parking garage on the lower level, there would be is a location for a potential mural. It's shown in just some bright colors right now, but we very much engage the bottom floor of that parking garage so that it becomes part of the overall plaza and helps with the overall safety and security of the space. And here's the parking garage from the other side from that activated green. Nighttime view of that same shot from the intersection, and you can see the parking garage in the background. All right, the interiors. So we were originally engaged in October of 2024, immediately set upon determining a program for it that focused on getting greater efficiency for the government spaces. So we had 19 departments that are all co-locating within this new city hall. In your current spaces, there's a number of duplicative spaces. Meeting rooms are dedicated to certain departments. The copy print, staff break rooms, all are duplicated throughout the space. This building gains efficiency by bringing those into a consolidated function on each floor. Here's the general layout of the departments within the building. This building provides a greater level of security than the current buildings by keeping the public primarily located on the first floor and a limited amount on the second floor. Also gain greater efficiency by having departments that have natural synergies together, much more interactions together by locating them next to each other to again gain that efficiency. As you enter the building, the entrance for the public will be immediately off of the parking garage. You can see that theirs is the yellow dash line, and they're able to access the areas in yellow. Then the staff would have their own private entrance on the second floor of the building that lines up with the third floor of the parking garage, so they'd be able to enter in through card access. And then any security, or service would function where the black lines are, away from the main entrance. This is a specific view of that one-stop lobby. Again, anybody can come into the building, take care of any interaction they need to have with the city in this one location. Here's the first floor of the building. The chambers is the blue on the top, and the yellow is the lobby that functions as part of the pre-function space for the commission chambers. You can see the floor plan is open and would allow flexibility for everybody in the future as the building, as the departments grow and ebb potentially, they can move about the floor plate without having to reconfigure walls. The chambers currently contains 254 people. The new arrangement would be 280. But again, as I mentioned earlier, it'd be a much more flexible space. Your furniture could be reconfigured into any number of arrangements, and the movable partition would come down and separate the dais. Here's a view of the chambers. Level 2, the yellow location shows the location of where the public can get to. You would be able to access the amenity terrace from this floor, but anything beyond that yellow area is behind a secure access, and anybody from the public would have to be escorted beyond that point. The third and fourth floor contain more offices. These are flexible and again can be rearranged over the years as needed, and this is not readily accessible by the public unless they are specifically allowed access up here or escorted. The City of Pompano code requires that the finished floor elevation, the bottom slab, is 6 inches above the immediate highest point of the immediate road. In this case, it's Dixie Highway, so we are located 6 inches above that location. Anybody goes out on the site now and stands on Dixie Highway, you can see the grade does drop down, so we will be bringing in fill to bring that up to protect it against flooding, and this actually gets us 18 inches above the 100-year FEMA floodplain elevation. All right, we spent a lot of time meeting with BSO, talking about SEPTED, making sure that we have a plan, a site, a building, a garage that all complies with all the ideas behind SEPTED, and making sure that BSO was approving of that. We do have that approval after a number of meetings. We will have electronic surveillance throughout the site. Camera locations are still being finalized, but there'll be a significant number of cameras. We will have natural, intuitive pedestrian connections. As you move through the site, we're keeping clear lines of sight so that you can see anybody around you, and there's not going to be any hiding spots. The site orientation we're using territorial reinforcement. So we're going to have things like bollards, seating walls, landscape elements to create that territorial reinforcement. The parking garage is made so it's easily viewed from outside the garage, and that there's limited blind spots within the garage itself. And then physical natural access control. The security desk at the front in the lobby will have a clear view across the entire Civic Plaza between the two buildings. And there's multiple pedestrian routes for people to be able to take and not get forced down a single path. And then maintenance. The maintenance of the space will be critical. You need to make sure that the site is kept free of debris and kept in a neat and orderly manner. And then the garage itself. This is a view, again, from that activated green looking towards the garage. We have opened up all the stairs per conversations with the BSO so that there are no places for anybody to hide within those staircases. You can actively see somebody coming down the staircase. And then again, on the view from Dixie Highway, similar sort of arrangement with the stairs, but again, you can see into that plaza with the clear open sight lines. All the shrubs, are nothing's taller than 30 inches, and all the trees will be trimmed up to at least 8 feet. The ground level itself for the parking garage has 469 spaces dedicated to both employees and fleet vehicles, with 143 public parking spaces. Obviously, on nights and weekends, that metric will be able to shift and allow public to park in those locations. Currently, the current city hall for both for fleet, public, and employees is 284. So it's a significant number of parking spaces increased. Here's the layout of the ground level. There'll be a drop-off on the ground floor, so that, again, if it's raining, you can get dropped off there. There's also going to be 9 ADA spaces, 2 EV spaces, and 12 reserve spaces in the upper right-hand corner in that green shaded box. As on the plans, anything that's in yellow is the space that's accessible by the public. So you can see the second floor is a public floor. And then once you get to the third floor, there'll be a mechanized gate to allow employees only past that point during business hours. And then the remaining floors of the building are for the employees. And then a longitudinal section through the building showing the overall parking. And that was it.
Okay. Anybody want to have questions? Mrs. Coleman, you can go first.
I just have one about the parking garage itself. If the ratio between public and employee needs to be adjusted, on the third floor, is it designed so that the bar, so to speak, can easily be moved back to allow more public parking?
If during the course of the building getting open, things didn't quite balance out exactly as intended, it could be relocated. We could certainly show an alternate layout for that, or do some alternate locations for it, and give differing parking counts. But some of this is going to be a function of how the building gets used, and what the criteria will be around, or the procedure will be around how the garage will get used. Whether it's always going to remain free, is it going to be pay to park certain hours? All that still needs to be determined by the city.
Okay, but it is designed to allow that. If we find out that 20% of our workforce rides a bike to work, then we might need less
Correct.
less restricted parking than we have public
Yeah.
parking.
And like I said, we could do a couple different alternate locations of where this could be, and give some different parking counts. And it could simply just move up a floor if it needed to.
I don't need to see that, I just need to make sure it's possible.
It is.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Good. Anybody on here? Mr. Russell?
What is the future? How are you going to interconnect this side of Dixie with the old town? And I don't know who has the best answer for that. But how's that interconnectivity going to happen?
Good afternoon, Danielle Handy, the Government Relations and Development Manager with Roca Point Partners. That is a really great question. We have been looking at that for some time now, actually ever since we were interviewing and actually proposing for this project. That was something that we've seen many different concepts for. For instance, a bridge was contemplated at some point. The reality is that the main limitations for being able to enhance that are going to be the railway. FEC has been challenging in the past. I would say, Suzette and the rest of the city staff have worked very diligently to be able to make the improvements to Atlantic to enhance the connectivity and the pedestrian capabilities there. If there are things that we can do to improve it, we will certainly investigate that and try to interconnect it further. But of course, that limiting factor just being the FEC having a 50-foot wide right-of-way and a lot of control on how that's improved and affected.
Mrs. King?
So this is going to be the garage that's going to be for the entire project that's going to be down MLK?
Correct.
Maybe I'll ask my question after.
Sorry. This parking garage is specifically for the city hall, and there is overflow that is contemplated in there for additional uses. So for instance, if another building comes along, there are some retail opportunities where people could park there, but there will be several parking garages throughout the entire project. This is just the first garage, but there will be several parking garages throughout the project.
Oh, maybe that's a great segue to my next question. So this garage would be accessible and open. I actually was going to the Septet part. Should I wait for that? Do I need to wait?
No, go ahead.
So, so with the garage being accessible and open for, I don't know, I assume the businesses will be open late, maybe 12 or 1 o'clock. So people will be able to access the garage, not just people that are coming there to drive, but we have a huge problem in the area with the unhoused. And I've been concerned about that, and I think I've been very vocal about it. So my concern is that, I see a beautiful garage, but I also see a beautiful homeless shelter as well. And I don't know how, I think we have to be very proactive and strategic about coming up with a plan long before now, before this happens, to address those issues. And I'm not saying that the city hasn't, because I think we have Sandra Rett. She's doing an amazing job. And I know there's a small core team for BSO that addresses it, but it's not addressed. It's still a real problem. And so now, all I see is these doors that are going to be unlocked, because you want to have people be able, if someone wants to go, access the stairs, so the door can't be locked, but it also gives access to people that are not coming there to do real business, if you understand what I'm saying. So it's concern to me. I saw the Septet plan, but again, cameras are great. They're usually great after the fact. So I'm just trying to see what type of proactive approach we're going to have in that parking garage to make sure that people are safe.
Absolutely, and that's clearly a priority. Did you? Sorry.
Yes. Good evening, Nguyen Tran, CRA Director. So we have given this a lot of thought. I understand your concern on the Northeast Transit Center. CRA office is right there. We see it every day. Cassandra Rett, we moved into our CRA office to help us with that issue. So we've been talking to the HOT team, the homeless outreach team, monthly. So we have our monthly meeting, sometimes code as well. And we look at these hot spots, we look at where the issues are. And right now, after the CRA did buy those convenience stores, it's night and day difference. That's number one. Number two is that we have been focusing on the transit center, because that's really where they've been sitting. And they sit on the park benches because it's shady. They definitely don't use the transit center. They're just going back and forth between the transit center to racetrack to, up at Adderley Motel. So we know where those hot spots are. In terms of what the plan is, the plan is to activate the interior of the site, not where it's anywhere near the transit center. But also, garages itself is not the safest thing. Surface parking lots are probably more safe than garages. So in addition to all the security cameras that tie directly to real-time crime center, the city is gonna hire additional security guards to walk the site and the garage. So I know that the county hires the private security now on the transit center, but until the area starts developing more, until we get more activity there, a lot of this unhoused and loitering still will occur.
I just don't want to create a false narrative for the people that frequent that area and that live nearby, that once this pretty building goes up, the problems go away. So that's why I want us to be I'd like to see a more strategic plan of what we're doing prior to that time. What I don't see on the septet is I don't see the call volume for service in that area. I don't see how many robberies we had in that area, because I want to say, okay, this is what we had, this is what we need to work with, and now, you know, we need to find a way to make sure we're addressing those areas prior to us putting up this million-dollar building, several million-dollar project. And so I think we'd be remiss, and we really miss it if we wait and say, well, you know, now the building's up, those problems are going to go away. No, those problems could begin to be exacerbated, because now I have a place to go that's covered, that I can go and just hang out and at least till 1 o'clock. And then when you guys are gone after 1 o'clock, it's fair game. No one's going to be there. So that's I'd want to see a more step-by-step plan on what we're going to do after 1 o'clock, after everything closes, and what are the crime stats like now, so that we can put something in plan until that happens. So are we marketing to say, hey, this area is going to be a new area, new development, therefore there won't be any, I mean, that should be for the entire city, but therefore it won't be any loitering. If so, you know, maybe we need to add to Cassandra Rett's team. I think we need to do some part of the septet is being proactive as well, and not just waiting till the project comes and says, these 5 pages are for the project.
Right. And you're absolutely right. And part of that is knowing what that call for service is for the transit center. So we had this run from May of 2025 to May of 2026. So these are current numbers for the past year. As you can see, the police service call, they do visit that area and do the check-ins, and it's 276 of those. So those are deputy-initiated calls that they visit. The rest of it, 107 calls for service over the past year, and you can see the breakdown there. Most of it is disturbance, nuisance, you know, trespassing, felony warrant, assist other agencies, suspicious incident package, misdemeanor warrant. Not a lot of, you know, high crime stuff, just a little nuisance stuff. So knowing what is occurring there over the past year, we can help develop a plan to address that.
I know we haven't, and maybe I'm getting off into another area, but I know we haven't approved financially how we're going to fund the project yet, but has there been any talk about adding an additional zone to that area for this project that may help with some of these nuisance things? Will run me away. I won't come to your business if every 5 minutes people are being a nuisance. So that's just as important to me as violent crimes. So has there been any concept given to maybe adding an additional zone to that area for, you know, protection of the garage and for the employees as well that may leave late, you know, from that area going home at night? Everybody may not leave right at 6. So has there any thought been given to that?
I can't answer that in terms of additional deputies assigned to it and zone
This is
deputies.
septet. Is there somebody here that can help answer it? This is septet report. There's no deputy that can help me? This is very important. I think we should have had somebody here to be able to ask, you know, answer my questions. I don't know where the surprise would have been, because I always ask questions about septet. So I want to know, have we given any consideration to adding a deputy to that area with a large project of this nature? So if you can answer me, maybe somebody can answer and get back with me. Thank you, that's it.
I can give it a shot. Good evening, Suzette Sybil, Assistant City Manager. Just to address your questions directly, we have had conversations about that inside the lobby area as well as outside. I think one of the things we have to realize is making this significant civic investment in the area, that we do want to protect that investment, and we do want to ensure the safety of the public, not just those visiting City Hall, but certainly the spillover. And I know you've been very vocal at commission meetings about your concerns about displacement of that activity once we have that walkable activation of the areas. So I think the idea is, once the development gets up and running and we're developing these surplus funds and they're going back into the trust fund or Obviously, I know there's discussions about going back into the general fund back and forth. Those are all debates that the commission can have in the future, but certainly, I think what would be advantageous is to definitely look at adding the zone deputies, adding more homeless resources. I think that's important. I do think Cassandra Rett does a fantastic job, and now she's in the, housed with the CRA. But these are all great ideas that we can fully incorporate into this project, not just at the City Hall footprint stage, but also long-term for the entire master plan. Because one of the things we also talked about is when developers come in to develop the individual pads, we want them to contribute to the safety of the area as well. So we're certainly contributing. We are going to be investing in the area, but when we have those developers come in, we want to create like a property association where they can actually not just fund activity in the area, but keeping it safe, well-maintained and clean, and just reduce loitering and vandalism and vagrancy in the area. So it has been something that we have discussed, just going through the motions over the last year with the community and at the commission level in our meetings.
Thank you. No further questions from me.
Thank you.
So I have a question about the building. The glass walls and the maintenance, have you considered that? Because I look at the building and I feel like it belongs in Atlanta or Alpharetta and not really Pompano. It's all glass and it's going to be very expensive to maintain. And you talked about keeping maintenance as part of it and now additional security. What made you decide to go with all glass walls? And also, is that hurricane resilient? I mean, that's something we have to consider as well.
It is certainly meeting all the requirements of hurricane resistance. It has impact rated glass as needed. I'm trying to get to, there we go. We had suggested a number of different designs through the process. We had probably dozens of designs through the various conversations, and this was the one that was gravitated towards by the city and the input that we received from the city. And this is the result of those meetings. And as far as the maintenance goes, the glass does need to be cleaned periodically, but we would anticipate that the maintenance on this would be relatively minimal in terms of long-term functionality for the city.
So how frequently do you have to wash those windows?
Well, I would expect once a year is what is typically done, but you could be washed more often if you feel it's necessary.
It's not going to be once a year, I can tell you that right now. Just curious about that.
Okay. Mr. Fisher, go ahead.
I had a couple questions. I don't know who needs to answer this. First one, is this the design that was presented to the city commission and voted on?
Correct.
Correct. Okay, perfect. And passed, correct?
Correct.
Okay, perfect.
That was last October. And then earlier this month, the AAC approved it as well on May 5th.
Okay. My other question is, and kind of about the security and activation we're talking about, what's the timeline first? What was the timeline on the City Hall, this project? Do we have a timeline per se?
You talking about when is it opening?
When will we be complete? For a ballpark?
Our time frame is opening 2028.
Perfect. With that exact being said, are we focusing on the pads closest to City Hall to sell first and then get those developed? Because obviously I just don't want to have a City Hall, built and then we just have land and one building's going to go here and one building's going to go here. Are we activating down towards 95? Is that the plan? I want to just get an idea of that.
Absolutely. So from a phasing standpoint, we prioritize the area that is east of Northwest 6, west of Dixie Highway, north of Atlantic, and south of Martin Luther King Boulevard. Those properties, the city and the CRA had done an excellent job of acquisitions. We had a very large assembled piece of land there, so that was where our initial focus was. So what we are working on concurrent with the city hall and the parking garage is basically a infrastructure site plan that has been in review with city staff. That's basically for all of the grading, the stormwater, the water and sewer, and we're basically padding all of these other properties so that we can, at the same time, concurrently market these for sale. And so that's very deliberate because, to your point, we want to make sure we have that infrastructure in place. So at the time that we are operating the city hall, we have these pads hopefully under sale. We have had a good amount of interest, in some of these multifamily pads. That's where we're really focusing at the moment, is multifamily. But of course, as the market dictates, we will pivot. But that's really where our focus has been. And then one other parcel is the Gateway parcel, which is north of Dr. Martin Luther King Boulevard.
Perfect. Only other comment that I wanted to make now, I guess, is a suggestion for residents or employees to maybe add a grab and go or something like that in the lobby. People are there, contractors are there, residents are there multiple hours in that one-stop shop trying to get permits passed, and they might need a cup of coffee or a water or grab a small sandwich. Nothing that's being prepared there on site, but just a suggestion of, and it possibly can create some income to the city as well.
Absolutely, and I think we do have that contemplated. I'll let Jonathan respond to that. Thank you.
We do. So it's not currently part of the plan, but we have made accommodations, so something like that could be added if it's desired. There is currently, and you can see it here, way to point here. You can see back against the walls back there, that's intended to be a coffee area right now. It could be enhanced further. We can make accommodations to bring water and other functions there so that it could be what you're describing.
Thank you. I really have just one question. A project this magnitude, when we think about how many steps this has gone through, how many meetings there have been, I'm just curious, and Max, if you're here somewhere, how many administrative adjustments were given for this project?
Hello again, Max Williams, Principal Planning Development Services. So we, working with this team has been really great because obviously they're very capable and eager to get this project done. So they came to us with an understanding of what conflicts existed within our code. And the fact that this had been through a number of public presentations, we knew what the concept was and where it was generally going. Development Services also wasn't particularly surprised that some administrative relief was necessary. An aspect of our code is the public purpose adjustment, and it is a tool that enables the Development Services Director to provide relief for a variety of aspects of the zoning code. So this project did receive one public purpose adjustment, which included relief from 10 zoning standards. And that's not unusual that a municipal project will have a public purpose adjustment. What is unusual is that we would have a project within the downtown Pompano overlay district. That district has a number of very specific design standards that are not intended for municipal operations, and certainly not a freestanding government administration building or a freestanding parking garage. So off the bat, a number of concessions were necessary. So the specific number is 10 zoning standards. They're all relevant and of the same zoning district, the downtown Pompano overlay district.
And it's quite a lot, to not come before a board for an exception, to not letting us hear about it, for all to be just strictly administrative.
Mm-hmm.
10 is quite a large number, and I'm not really comfortable with that many things being approved without having oversight over it.
You mean like a public hearing oversight?
In some capacity, a public hearing or an exception, or come before us for, something along those lines. But, this is a massive project that the administration is really in favor of, and I'm just concerned that there's not enough oversight from the public on this matter.
Okay, so we do require with every public purpose adjustment that they provide to us their concept plan so we can see specifically what is being asked, and then a narrative or some kind of justification to each of the different development standards. So with this one, it was a number of things like the setbacks. The downtown Pompano overlay district is unique in that it doesn't just have a minimum setback requirement like you would expect for a single family home of 25 feet from the front property line. There's also a maximum setback, and what the idea behind that is that you create this building wall along a street when you have a series of new developments, so you have an active public realm. Now, that wasn't necessarily appropriate for the design and location of this structure, where we had the central plaza that extends from between the City Hall building and the parking garage to what is envisioned in the master plan concept of this linear corridor through the new downtown. And so where that becomes the public face of the building, and the length of the building occupying the remainder of that site doesn't result in a 10-foot setback from Atlantic, rather the 30-foot or whatever setback that it is. So that's an example of the type of setback that was unique for this application.
I can appreciate your explanation
standard.
here, and that's one of the 10. You know, even more so, like, there should have been further explanation on this in your presentation, or some sort of some other methodology should have explained some more of these things, in my opinion. Like, there is not enough depth to what we learned today about this project. It was very face value, and this is what it's going to be. And there, with all these administrative adjustments along the way, I feel like there should have been a clearer picture of, like, this is what the administration has agreed to. I'm okay now. Thank you.
Okay,
I have a question.
go ahead.
As relates to the chambers, I don't know, no deputy here can answer my question, but I heard him mention, I'm sorry, sir, I forgot your name.
Jonathan.
Mr. Jonathan, I heard you talk about a wall. Is it just cosmetics, or is it to deal with active shooters? What parameters do we have in place to have that extra layer of protection for the chambers? I know we don't have any
Let me get to the
metal
floor.
detectors or
Yeah,
anything
let me get to
here.
the floor plan here. I'll be able to see here.
What have we added to the chambers for active shooters, or to prohibit someone other than the deputies from bringing a weapon inside?
Correct. So there will be level 3 ballistic behind level 3 ballistic material behind the dais itself. So that there'll be a level of protection there, and then the ante room behind will be a safe room. So, you know, any sort of incident happens, you'd be able to retreat back to that location. The deputies would know that that's where they can come and to get you in your safe room.
So even with our new facility, there's no way to prohibit outside person from bringing a weapon into the chambers?
Correct. That's a function of the state of Florida's laws. Courthouses, you're not allowed to bring guns in, but a meeting such as this, you are allowed.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. At this point, we will open it up to the public. If there's anybody who wants to speak from the public, come on up. We'd like you, if you could, keep your, I know that there's a lot of questions about this particular project in terms of things that are not related to what this board does, perhaps. But if you could, keep it more in tune with what the major site plan is, please. So if you'd like to, anybody want to come up and speak? Okay.
Good evening, Jocelyn Jackson. First of all, I would like to say this is a beautiful project. I'm so excited about it. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Six Trunk Avenue, 6th Trunk, 6th Street in Fort Lauderdale. It used to be called Skid Row back in the day. Prostitutes, pimps, people on drugs. But if you travel down that street, you'll see the beautiful skyscraping buildings. You know, it's like a cornerstone. It's beautiful down there, beautiful place. And also if you travel, I don't know when the last time you traveled, on Broward Boulevard, headed east. They building a monster there. I'm not sure if it's only for the Fort Lauderdale Police Department. It could be the city, is the city, just the police department? Wow, that thing is beautiful. It is beautiful. And I'm gonna say this real quickly with my tax dollars. I like beautiful things. I like nice things. When I'm going to the mall, I'm shopping high end. And I look at Broward used to have a lot of homelessness people near the college there. They have all their tents lined up. It's homelessness everywhere. It's everywhere. You know, even when we shopping at the malls, we get out the car, we don't fear nothing. We got all kind of bags walking out the malls. We ain't worried about nobody hitting us over the head or anything. But I'm here to say, I stand on these little feet. I'm excited about the project. To prevent anything from happening when we wake up in the morning, we don't even know if we're going home when we wake up in the morning in our travels. It's called life. And I think we have done a magnificent job getting rid of those corner stores in our community, which was bringing our community down. But I noticed something about the homeless people. They don't like to filter in when stuff look nice and rich. They go the opposite way. Don't forget, we have hotels here too in the city of Pompano Beach. The homeless don't lie amongst the hotels. And I don't think we're gonna have any problems with the homelessness, because Cassandra is doing an outstanding job. So as a good taxpayer of $30,000 a year, I would like to see this building, and from the sweat of the brow of my mama and her siblings, from the sweat off their blood and tears backs, being migrant workers, that's what we want to see, the state of the art, not just for Atlanta. Yeah, my children are Atlanta kids, but no, bring this here to Pompano. Let us stand in the gap and be beautiful too. Thank you.
Oh, Ms. Jackson, could you just provide your address for the record too?
I prefer not.
Oh.
I prefer not. Thank you. It doesn't matter where you live in Margate. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me.
Next person.
And you live in Margate.
Come on, please. Okay. Anybody else? All right. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing portion. And we'll bring it back to the board. So, any other questions or comments, things that you'd like to talk about?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mrs. Clark.
I'd just like to commend the architects on this building. Your credentials, I think, speak for themselves. This is a beautiful building, and I think it is one that we deserve. You know, I think that if you can manage to do the security for a number of embassies across the world, you can manage to do the work with SEPTED to make sure that we're pretty safe here, at least as safe as you can make it. I really appreciate Ms. King's expertise in this area and her undying advocacy for it, because we need that kind of expertise on this board. But this has been a long time coming, and it is a beautiful building.
Thank you. Mr. Hartzell?
The only concern I really have for the project, you know, this thing is beautiful, and I think Pompano deserves it. I think this should have been the first thing built when they started doing the CRAs. It's unfortunate because it's, you know, on the other side of Dixie, that's always the area that gets neglected, and we do the beach first. Then we did Old Town. It's time to improve that area too. You know, that community deserves this. They deserve something beautiful. My concern is the interconnectivity and being able to integrate what Trent's done with Old Town and all the hard work you guys have done and the money invested by not only the private folks, but also the public. And you guys have raised the tax rate over there incredibly on those buildings. And I just don't want to see this area go up and then all of a sudden Old Town becomes Old Town again and just falls apart. So I want to make sure that, you know, with some assurance that they're integrated and they're going to, you know, they're absolutely going to be a symbiotic relationship.
Chair, may I respond? So you are absolutely correct. And this whole project, as you recall, we've been saying has been 25, 30 years in the making. This all started with an interconnectivity plan. The idea is to connect the northwest to the northeast quadrant, to the southeast quadrant, and hopefully in the Avondale area as well, and maybe a pedestrian bridge across the canal. Connectivity from a planning and redevelopment standpoint is very important to us. And that happened with the Atlantic Dixie Streetscape project. That is when you do stuff like that, is when you don't have you know, vertical construction. You start defining the public realm. You start defining public safety. What you want to see is pedestrian activity, people getting out of their cars. You know, this started when we rezoned the whole area and you know, made it a transit-oriented corridor. That's all about connectivity. I think your question is right on, is what happens with this? You know, where it's really going to go and where the connectivity is going to happen is once this jumps to the tracks, and as you know, in redevelopment, it always starts on the east side, on the east coast cities, and then starts slowly working to the west, and then finally jumps to tracks. It happened in Delray with Swinton Avenue. It is happening here with Dixie Highway. So we are jumping the tracks. The important part is, how do we get back to the other side of Old Pompano? What happens to the old City Hall? You know, the idea is let's build this new City Hall and start activating this area as the first phase, as a catalyst for redevelopment in this area. City Hall will be redeveloped, the old site of City Hall. So it's very important to interconnect the cultural facility with the new whatever City Hall is going to be with Old Town and across the tracks. I think where you're going to see is, you know, hopefully we do get that rail station. We've been working with the county. We've been talking with the county. I would love to swap properties with the county and take that Northeast Transit Center and flip it somewhere. It really needs to go on the east side of Dixie, but you know, that's county planners, not me. But the idea is to activate all these corners, and I think we have started doing that with the streetscape projects to make it more connected, more pedestrian-oriented. So you'll see it once more development starts coming, how it flows together. It's hard to see now because this is the first project off the ground, but there will be more that comes.
Well, I have confidence in you, and I've seen what you've done, and I think you did an excellent job at the beaches and with Old Town, and
It's all about economic development, and I think everybody here in the city and every advisory committee and residents had a part of where we're at now.
I had one more comment. That, like, we're limited to site review on the board. You know, do they comply with our zoning code? Do they comply with our comprehensive plan? And they do. So kind of stuck on that, and I'll take Trent's word on the integration of the three sides of the road.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Fisher.
One last thing, I agree they do comply. Are the conditions, I'm guessing accepting those? Just want to make sure. We haven't put that on the record yet.
We have no objection to the conditions.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Everybody nod? Okay. So having worked on the ECRA board from the 2008, when we first started working on the beach, and that was clearly a dilapidated slum and blight type of place that people really didn't want to go to. The public investment was of the parking garage was the catalyst, was one of the catalysts, rebuilding the pier and rebuilding the beachfront itself, all of which were public investments, were done in a very early portion of this phase, of the phasing and redevelopment of the beach area, and then that drew massive private investment, including some very high-end condos on the beach, probably at least a 10-figure outside investment. This is the public investment that should be the driving catalyst for this particular area. It also will be the first time we've built the public facilities in the center of our town. It's pretty simple to understand why in the history of South Florida, why it was never put in the center of our town. And I think it makes, along with the fact that it's a stunning building, that it's the beginning of what could be a redevelopment that will go on, and at my advanced age, starting on my 8th decade on this earth, I probably won't, I may not see the end of it. But that doesn't make it any less important. In fact, it makes it more important. When we hand stuff off, I'm glad to see that over on the ECRA now, Mr. Fisher, who is significantly younger than I am, is now our chairman, and we have a couple of other young guns. And the passing things off in posterity, starting with such a spectacular facility. And by the way, I did have conversations with the developers. I think probably other folks did too at some point during this whole process, but I did want to put that on the record. But that I see this as just the kickoff of what could be, or what will be, I believe, a spectacular redevelopment of downtown with an inclusion of folk who have in the past have not probably received anywhere near the portion of the public goods that they perhaps were entitled to. So with that, the chair will entertain a motion on this item.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mrs. Coleman.
I'd like to make a motion in consideration of planning and zoning application number, 2612000002. I move that the board finds that competent and substantial evidence is presented that satisfies the review criteria and approves the master site plan, the major site plan, with conditions 1 through 5, subject to those conditions as provided by staff.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on the motion? Any comments? And seeing none, Bobby, call the roll on item 1, please.
Carla Coleman,
Yes.
Rich Daly,
No.
Gigi DeBeck,
No.
Paul Fisher,
Yes.
Robert Hartzell,
Yes.
Tundra King,
No.
Fred Stacer.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Good luck with the next phase. All right.
Somebody's warning? Matt? There you go.
Should we take a break?
If you want.
Yeah, just like 5 minutes.
5 minute
would be
break?
good. Thank you.
Okay.
No,
Okay, take a break.
recess.
Recess.
Nope, legally we have to.
Okay, let's make it quick. sorry. I was talking in the mic, shouldn't have been. All right, next item on the agenda is item number 2. Festival South, P&Z 25-124043. And the owner is CH Realty XF. Is this like a code or something? Is that something you have to? I don't speak this language, but whatever it is. Okay, well, that's the owner. Big deal. Okay, Mrs. Stanton, you're presenting. Good to see you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair and board members. Pamela Stanton with Development Services. This is the agenda item for the major site plan application for the Festival South Warehouse Development. The project is located just south of the Festival Industrial Redevelopment Site on the old Festival Marketplace site, which was recently demolished. The existing drainage pond separates the two sites, as shown on this aerial image. The image also shows an existing pedestrian bridge connecting the two sites, and the developer has stated, however, that that bridge will be removed. Excuse me. The site plan shows the project layout with 2 industrial buildings with loading areas behind the buildings on the north side, with landscaping around the perimeter of the site. The parking spaces are located behind and between the buildings and on the peninsula, which is on the west side of the property. An abundance of parking is proposed with 160 spaces provided, which exceeds the 116 that are required. Also on that west peninsula at the far end is an existing utility structure with a telecommunication tower, and that facility is supposed to remain, correct? Yes. The zoning designation is general industrial, and the land use is also industrial. The proposed use falls under the category of warehouse distribution and storage. The buildings are each 1 story, and the average height of the 2 buildings is about 42.5 feet to the top of the roof. And the highest point of building 1 is 49 feet to the top of the tallest point of the parapet, and 45.5 feet for building 2 to the tallest point of the parapet. The proposed project was reviewed by the Development Review Committee on January 21st and March 4th of this year, and the building design was approved by the Architectural Appearance Committee May 5th, earlier this month. These are the building elevations that face south towards Northwest 33rd Street. Now, this is an industrial area. These are industrial warehouse buildings. The major site plan review standards listed here. As usual, the information on these standards have been met. It is in the staff report, drawings and documents that have been uploaded to the backup folder. The developer is requesting a reduction in the required width of the landscape area between the buildings and the vehicular use areas, which can be achieved through superior design landscape, administratively approved. This has been added as a condition. With that, should the board find that the application has provided competent, substantial evidence to satisfy the review standard for major site plan approval, the Development Services Director recommends that the following conditions be included. 1, a 2-foot right-of-way dedication is required on Northwest 27th Avenue in accordance with the Broward County Traffic Ways Plan for an overall 80-foot right-of-way or 42 feet to the center line of Northwest 27th Avenue. Provide evidence that the landscape plans, specifications, notes, and details demonstrate superior landscape design in accordance with code for a reduction in the required width of the landscape area between the buildings and the vehicular use areas. 3, provide evidence demonstrating that all air conditioners are Energy Star rated, the water heaters are solar powered or tankless, and provide specifications for the white roof in accordance with the selected Sustainable Development Point options of Table 155.5802. 5, a master sign program is required prior to permit issuance for the installation of any sign. And 5 are the standard conditions of approval and or specifications required prior to building permit and zoning compliance permit issuance. With that, should the board find the application, this concludes my brief overview of the Festival South major site plan application. I can answer any questions you have. The applicant is also here for a brief presentation that can take place prior to questions if you prefer.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions of staff? Or you want to wait? Okay, go ahead, Mr. Hartzell.
Was all of this one parcel? I mean, how is this, we voted on one of these previously for Festival Flea Market. How are they interrelated? Are they, I just want to know if it's piecemeal development, are we?
And you're right, this aerial image does not show the boundary lines and the property lines. And I'm surprised, and my apologies. But the hatched area on this aerial image is the actual property. This is this project site. It is not one large parcel that includes the festival and the lake. The hatched area is the entirety of the folio of the property. The lake is a separate parcel, and then the festival marketplace site, which was here, I think, last October, is a separate parcel as well.
Are they in the same ownership, or?
The lake is separate ownership, but the festival marketplace and Festival South are same ownership.
You want him to answer?
I'll wait for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, anybody else before we? Yes,
Mr.
go
Manager,
ahead.
one clarification on that aerial. What is the green space to the south?
Ms. Coleman, is your microphone on?
Yeah, I'm just not speaking into it, sorry. What is the green space to the south of the hatched area?
I believe that is a utility, that's owned by a utility. There's a substation, whether it's gas or FP&L. And so that whole green area with the gray pavement, believe it is utility infrastructure.
I just couldn't believe there was that much green space in the middle of the industrial area. Thank you.
But there's a whole bunch of stuff underground under there.
Okay.
Yeah, I bet. Okay, anybody? Mr. Mealy, go ahead.
What do you need? That's mine. You can have it if you want. How about this one? No. That's 21. That's a different number. How about this one?
Their side.
PDF or
Top left.
Yeah, the IT guy showed me right before the meeting.
This is test.
Top left.
While they're finding that, my name is Dennis Mealy, 200 East Broward Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale, on behalf of the applicant. So to go to the question that was asked earlier, these parcels were owned separately. So we first were able to acquire the Festival Flea Market property, which we're now building. And then now this was a separate owner that we've contracted for and now acquiring this piece. So although we will own everything, they were all owned separately in the past. The reason that the pedestrian bridge goes away is you may recall that this area was like an overflow parking lot for the festival property, and that's why they needed that bridge. So if you parked over here, you could walk up to the festival. It's just not needed anymore because these two properties, although we're building both of them and developing both of them, they all have their separate access points, they have their separate parking. And then in terms of the conditions of approval, we have no objection to any of them. They're very similar to the conditions we had on the first project. We had to give the same two-foot right-of-way dedication on 27th Avenue there, just like we're doing here. And the way the architect described it to me, he said these buildings would be cousins of the ones to the north, not sisters. I said, what does that mean? He said they look almost the same, but not exactly the same. The colors are a little different and so on. We have a presentation, but it really wasn't much different than what Pamela already showed you. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Do you all own the Shell gas station? I thought something came up about that as well.
No, so on the northern piece, we were able to buy everything except right at the corner of 27th and Sample, there's a gas station and I think an auto parts store that the seller who sold us our property was keeping and leasing to Racetrack or whoever it is. Now, what we did do, though, is we coordinated our site plan with theirs to make sure all the driveways match up, the landscape areas all match up, and Pamela was instrumental in making sure that happens.
Okay.
I just have one more question. So I'm
Yeah,
not
go ahead.
sure what's going to be there, but there is a school, I think we brought this up, I brought this up last time, adjacent to there, so I would really be concerned about, not concerned, but to address that there is a school near there. So buses come in and out, that area, so I hope that wouldn't be problematic for your
No,
tenant or whomever's gonna.
it won't be. And when we were in the DRC process, of course, the sheriff's office was reviewing everything with us. We talked about that. We talked about the times that parents are dropping off and picking up, and how does that match up with what we're doing. And I think everyone feels comfortable that we should be able to be just fine here. And as staff pointed out, this is largely an industrial area already, and we're kind of adding to it. What's different about this site than the one to the north? On the one to the north, you may recall, we had to amend the land use map because it was commercial. We had to change it to industrial. We had to rezone from the commercial district to the industrial. On this property, it was already industrial land use. It was already industrial zoned. It was already platted. We didn't even have to amend the plat. So this property, really all it needed was a site plan, as opposed to the property on the north where we needed a land use amendment, we needed to rezone, we had to amend the plat, and we had to do a site plan. This property was much more ready to go as industrial land.
Did you want to go through your thing?
I guess we found it, so I might as well.
You would be remiss not to let us watch now, huh?
We might as well use it. So yes, here's the aerial photo, and you see outlined in yellow is this piece.
Mr. Mealy, just into the microphone.
Oh, sorry. Okay, is that better?
Yep.
Thank you. And then you just see who we are, and we were doing the northern piece, now we're doing this one. This is our site plan. I guess it's a little better than the one earlier because it's in color instead of black and white. These are the buildings, just showing you different perspectives. And as staff pointed out, we have excess parking, more than the parking required by code, which is a good thing. And these are our sustainable development points that are required to address those types of issues. And this is the parking, as I mentioned, and spaces in excess of code. And that's it. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'm just curious, who owns the lake? Do you know who owns the lake? Do you guys own the lake too?
I'm sorry, say again?
The lake.
Yes?
Who owns the lake? Do you guys own the lake also?
There's an association. When you get a drainage permit for a large area like this, and there's multiple properties, the county actually requires you to have a property owners association to operate the water management system. So the lake itself is owned by the association for this area.
You guys are part of the association, I guess?
We are part of the association. Both the north and southern pieces are part of the association. Also, properties to the south of us, some of those other industrial properties as you go south on 27th Avenue, they're part of the association too.
Okay. There's no plans to do anything with the lake. They have to keep the lake, right?
Yeah, we have to keep. In fact, one of the things that we helped, there was a pre-existing problem in that area where there was a drainage pipe that had been crushed through some construction, not on our property, to the south of our property. We went to the county and we said, you have a citation against the association because of this crushed pipe. Can we go fix it? And they said, yes, you can go fix it. And that's what we're doing.
That's good work. Thanks, Dennis.
I know used to be some large trees there, so did you guys have to remove those? Are they being tagged, replaced? Can you tell me what's happening with that?
So the standard procedure for something like that is first you do a tree survey to show all the trees you have. How big are they? What species are they? Are they in good, fair, or poor condition? And then the first thing is to keep them in place. If you can't keep them in place, to transplant them somewhere else on the property. And if you can't do either one of those, then you have to mitigate by either putting in more trees or paying a fee. I believe on this site, we're actually in pretty good shape. That's our landscape architect who's coming right up. She can probably tell you even better than I can.
I want to strengthen my tree skills.
Hi, everybody. I'm Alexandra, and I love working with the city of Pompano because I can plant as much as I want.
Ma'am, have you been sworn in first?
Yes.
Have you been sworn in?
She was, yeah.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't in yet.
Here?
No.
Oh, okay.
You better do it now.
All right. What do I do?
Just raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. And just your name and address for the record, please.
Alexandra Viala, and I'm a landscape architect with Whitkin Holtz and Partners. It's so weird speaking in a mic. Is it too loud? Okay. I normally try to do due diligence to keep all the trees on site. This one, the trees that we focused on removing were the ones that were in conflict with the structures. That's it, but anything around that we were able to keep, we kept. And we mitigated more than enough for them.
So the trees that abut the turnpike, I guess, that area, they used to be kind of scary. So did those remain?
We have just partially. The ones that are in conflict, we kept a lot of them, but there are some that were in conflict with the new construction that we had to remove, but we did include them in our design, the ones that remained.
Thank you.
And like I said, we mitigated for it, so we are still creating a buffer, a very lush buffer with enough trees to still block the view.
Thank you.
Okay.
You know, and I know there was the question earlier about the property to the south, so it is a substation. But also, if you look in this area, there's major transmission lines going like adjacent to the turnpike. And so a lot of the other things we had to do on both the north and south sites was building without interfering with the FP&L facilities that have to remain.
Okay. Any other questions? Anybody in the audience want to speak? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing.
I just have one other question. In that area, there's been a lot of dumping. I hope your cameras may help with that, but maybe there'll be some life over there, so maybe that might mitigate itself.
So as part of our SEPTED program, of course, we have security measures in place, but what I find is when there's no activity on a site, that's when you get the dumping. Once you actually are building and you have people there, it doesn't happen anymore because somebody's going to see them doing it. So yes, we will be very much monitoring that.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, seeing none. Chair will entertain a motion on number 2.
I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Dally, go ahead.
In consideration of planning and zoning application number 2512000043, I move that the board finds that there's competent and substantial evidence has been presented that satisfies the review criteria and approves the major site plan with the 5 conditions subject to the 5 conditions provided by staff.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, Bobby, call the roll on item number 2.
Rich Daly,
Yes.
Paul Fisher,
Yes.
Gigi DeBeck,
Yes.
Robert Hartzell,
Yes.
Tundra King,
Yes.
Carla Coleman,
Yes.
Fred Stacer.
Yes, thank you very much. Good luck with your project. Mm-hmm. She was so excited. She was a character. Oh, you've known her? Did you? What did you? No. I wasn't. Yeah, we did too. That's why we live here. Okay. Next item. Item number 3. PNC 25-12, 4021. Owners Master Car Wash LLC, 2100 West Atlantic LLC. Saul, you're presenting?
Good afternoon, Chair and board members. Saul Umana, Planner with Development Services. I feel like I've been here for the past 3 months, every month, but I'm here to present Shell Building, Project PC 25-12-00021. The site address is 21 West Atlantic Boulevard, but we all know it as the site that currently has the former Golden Corral site near the Atlantic Boulevard Walmart between Powerline and North Andrews. So this is going to be an addition adjacent next to the former Golden Corral application. Just a little bit of clarification, the actual building itself for the Golden Corral is not part of this approval, The shell modification for that Golden Corral building is already done through a building permit, so that work did not require or trigger any type of site planning. However, the outside changes to the adjacent to the building are part of this approval and part of the overall. So it's the new 5,000 square foot addition, and also in addition to the shell building, all will have the same uses, but that we're not counting that approval today just for that former Golden Corral, but it will be turned into the same uses into a retail and future establishment. So just a little bit of background on the location. It is B3 within that PCI. That whole area of the Walmart location is all under an overlay district. That overlay district doesn't really have anything other than just the general location of the paths and roadways. So that overlay district doesn't really have anything restrictive. It's just basically says follow the underlying zoning code, but we have laid out the paths for the industrial and the commercial. As you know, there's industrial and commercial uses all together in there. So the underlying land use category is commercial, and obviously this will be a shell building for future retail and restaurant uses. So let me just explain condition number 1, because both buildings are going to be turned into shell buildings and the applicants right now don't know if all the buildings will be for restaurant uses or if all they're going to be all retail uses. So they will, in the future, come in for tenants to build them out. So if it happens to be just like maybe like a Pizza Hut or Domino's or anything else like that, and then somehow it all turns out to be restaurant instead of retail, or it will be a mix, we don't have right now an ability to plan for such scenarios. So what we're going to do is that every time they come in for a build out, they need to provide us a calculation count or what's there, what's missing, what's tracking, because a parking calculation for a retail establishment is not the same as a restaurant. So we can't do both. So we don't have a scenario in that way, but we will keep track of it once they come in for build outs and zoning certificates applications. So that's what the condition is there for, that every time they put in a permit, they provide me a parking count.
I just want to add to that they do have enough parking for retail. They have enough parking for a mix of retail and restaurant.
Yeah.
They do not have enough parking for 100% restaurant, which is based off of customer service area, which at this point is unknown. But if it was 100% customer, you know what I mean? So it's just impossible to predict if it's a mix, there's sufficient. If it's retail, there's sufficient. So I just wanted to be clear that it was reviewed for sufficient parking in certain scenarios.
You're correct. And it is, right now, the zoning site plan, it just shows sufficient capacity for retail. So we're just keeping that just in case. It did pass. I did get AAC approval actually in April, and there were no conditions. And then the second condition that I had on the site, whenever you go to a place and you go to a parking lot, sometimes when there's yes.
Did you put the conditions up?
Sure. So condition number 2, the way that this works is that when you go to an area and you see that they're using the sidewalk as the continuous curving, sometimes the cars will push all the way out and then leave no sidewalk. So this way, if they extend it, it will act both as a sidewalk and a continuous curve. So that was just something that I wanted them to do. So it just adds more space for sidewalk and act as a continuous curve. So when you're walking in a plaza, sometimes you'll see that not all the cars are lined up correctly. So that extension will prevent cars from pushing all the way forward and not allowing people to walk. And then the third condition is just the standard condition of approval, but I will read those into the record. And then it is a 1-story building, so the total height is 16, and then the floor plans, as I said, they will come in when they get those build outs at a future later date. And let me just read this for the record. Should the board find that the applicant has provided competent, substantial evidence to satisfy the review standards for major site plan approval, the Development Services Department recommends approval of the major site plan subject to the following conditions. Number 1, prior to building permit approval for each interior build out and or zoning use certificate, provide an updated parking calculation for the entire development associated with the site to verify that the site continues to meet minimum parking requirements for each application submitted. The application was evaluated based on retail parking requirements. If multiple base proposed uses with higher parking demands, such as restaurants, later tenants may be limited in the uses permitted. Number 2, For all newly proposed parking spaces, adjust the continuous curving so that the paved length of the parking spaces measures 16 with a 2-foot overhang, adding to the width of the landscaping or sidewalk areas. And number 3 is a standard conditions of approval or specifications required prior to building permit or a zoning compliance permit issuance. And I won't read the other ones, but that's it.
Okay.
The applicants are also here if you have any questions from me or from them, or if you want to wait later.
Okay, do you have, anybody have any questions? Yes, Mr.
Just want to
Fisher.
confirm, Max, so you're saying all restaurant, no, can happen. Mix, yes, or all retail, yes, but all restaurant, no.
So the restaurant calculation is based on customer service area. So we don't know what the build out difference between like the customer service area and the back of house is going to be. If it was 100% customer service area for all of the 5,000 square foot new building as well as the shell building, they would be underparked. So until that happens,
We'll build that.
yeah.
Yeah, we don't feel like there's going to be a problem, but we just don't have a way to track it until they come in for a permit.
Okay. Anybody else?
I don't know, my question is more for Max or city or the applicant, I'm sorry. But that entire overlay district over there, if you ever go over there at night, it's very dark. Even like Chipotle is new and I frequent there often. It's just a very dark corridor over there. I've called Walmart to their corporate office several times, Burger King. It's just really, really dark. So I don't want to hold that against the applicant, but it's just really, really dark over there. And of course, we have problems with the unhoused over there, and so it's a great place to make your new home because it's really dark over there. Again, I don't know if they meet the code, I assume, but it's still very dark.
Sure. So Terry seems familiar with the subject, but I'll just start by saying we could certainly evaluate the required, or the approved lighting plans for the properties in that district and provide those to code enforcement for their inspections. You say you're sure that they were approved. Sometimes things are approved in one way and then they turn into something else over time. So it could be that they have lights that are out, that are not functional. That's a code compliance thing. It could be that they aren't compliant with their lighting plan. That's also a code compliance thing. It could be that they're perfectly compliant with their lighting plan. It was just approved at some point in the past where we didn't have the higher standards that we do now. So certainly I'm happy to coordinate with you and follow up with you on that.
Absolutely.
But I hear what you're saying, and I think Terry.
I think maybe too, I would say just south, maybe southeast. Those are just more businesses that are usually closed at night. And so I don't know if it's dark because, there's no car lights, there's not a lot of activity over there. But that area, if you can go through there one night, you can see what I'm talking about. And I've called most of the businesses over there because it's just very dark. And I want people to be safe when they go in any establishment over there. Even the Chipotle, it's dark over there at night.
Certainly.
And early in the mornings. So maybe I can get with you later. I don't want to waste your time, but I definitely would like to get with you or whomever, the district commissioner, whomever I need to get with.
For sure. For this application, we are requiring a new photometric plan, so you will see site lighting improvements for this.
I saw you nodding your head. That's why he was like, be quiet, lady, I got this. Okay, thank you.
So, good evening. My name is Rod Feiner. I'm an attorney with Coker & Feiner, 1133 Southeast 4th Avenue in Fort Lauderdale. First of all, I'll say I'm a victim of Zoom today. I had my jacket on with my suit for my court hearing via Zoom at 8:45 this morning. I took it off and put it on my chair, expecting to bring it to you, and I left it on my chair, so I apologize for not being in my jacket. Second of all, I'll correct the two misnomers. Just as a mere coincidence, it says Shell Building. That's because it's a vacant building. There's no Shell gasoline station or anything going on this property. And even though the developer is Master Car Wash, that's the name of his company, there's no car wash going on this site either. So now that we've clarified all that, staff did a really good job. We agree with all the conditions that are on here. Let me just address the parking issue real quick. Right now, what we do is we know that it's going to be either retail or a mix of commercial, of restaurant and retail, but until we know what the actual tenant mix is, we can't do the allocated parking. So what we've done is we're going to allocate that as part of the CU. Obviously, everyone knows that before you can pull a building permit for a build-out, before you can occupy the premises, before you can even get a BTR, you have to submit a certificate of use to the zoning department. On this one, we have to justify that there's sufficient parking on the site as overall for each tenant that comes in, and there'll be kept a rolling tab in the city department as well as the property owner. We've done this with several other projects in several other cities and several other areas, and it seems to work very well. So it's constantly updated. So I want to say that there is adequate parking. There are no parking waivers being requested. There are no adjustment of development standards being requested with this application. As a matter of fact, what we're really doing is we think we're upgrading the full site. So we're taking the Golden Corral, that after the Golden Corral was a Chinese restaurant, if you recall, and those were basically, the Chinese restaurant especially was a very bad use. They did not keep it up. They were evicted. So instead of putting another restaurant in, especially at that size, that doesn't really work anymore. We want to do a mix of either retail or restaurant uses. That is already in. It's the entire elevations are being updated. That's already in for building permit. And this upgrades the rest of the site. And I will say that your staff did an excellent job with us on upgrading the site. So here's the existing condition. You can see the existing Golden Corral with the full parking field that was there, where a lot of it was just asphalt, no landscaping and everything else like that. This is what it's going into. You can see the new building and you can see a lot of the new landscaping. I will say that staff, and Wade in particular, was very good at holding our feet to the fire and bringing us up to landscape code, especially with landscaping around the building and items like that. Your zoning staff was always also very good in making sure there was pedestrian connectivity between the two buildings and along the main thoroughfare as well. So we took all that into account. The pedestrian connectivity was right through this area right here, so you could get to it. Here are some elevations for the building. Those will match what the existing building is. It's really an upgrade to the modern looking building. Other than that, we understand that the tenant signs will also have to be fairly uniform with how things go. And that's basically it. We're happy to answer any of the questions that you might have.
Okay. Anybody have any? Yes, Mr. Dally, go ahead.
Where the new building is being proposed, there is a lot of existing mature trees, it looks like to me, in the staff report. Are you removing those, like, and you're mitigating them with new trees, or can you?
So we are increasing the overall landscape. We are mitigating some of the trees. The other trees that are there are not really in good shape. We've worked with Wade extensively on that in the city arborist department and taking care of all that. But there aren't a lot of very mature, very positive trees in that area, but we are mitigating them and doing more around the perimeter. Overall, we're adding more trees to the site as a whole.
Okay.
Anybody else?
If you said you may do retail or you may do restaurant, will there be ample room if you need to do a drive-through or anything, or that's not been considered?
So as of right now, drive-through is not being proposed at all. We had wanted to maybe reserve room for a drive-through when the fire department had issues with access on how they would treat that and everything. So there's no drive-through being proposed right now. Staff also was concerned about there being a drive-through, even though we're separated from Atlantic by the canal. They didn't want to drive through right next to Atlantic as well right then and there. So while a drive-through might have been part of the Chick-fil-A, that never happened on this. I
kept saying Chick-fil-A. I was too optimistic.
There is no Chick-fil-A plan for here. They would want the full site, and that's not happening. There is no drive-through on this plan. Fire and zoning staff expressed some concern. Our client was happy not to propose one. And I will say we are updating all the lighting on at least our property on this, and it will be better lit than what you see out there right now.
Okay.
And, Terry will get upset if I introduce him. Terry Runyon, the project architect, is here as well in case you have any specific questions for the architect or any other questions that I can't answer.
Okay.
I just want to know if you've had any nibbles.
I'm sorry, what?
Nibbles on what might go in there. You can't say.
Can't be Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
We really don't know. We've had some discussions with like a Cali Coffee at one time or some other things like that. Maybe there's also been maybe a cell phone store that might be going in or something. The owner is currently negotiating. We've gotten some letters of intent, but until we get through this, we can't really do anything because they're very concerned about build-out times and everything else like that.
Got it. There's been a similar, the new development that was built at the corner of 24th Street and Federal Highway that has Jersey Mike's and a jeweler and all sorts of stuff. No drive-throughs, one of the hottest plazas in town. So good luck.
Thank you.
I like that Jersey Mike's. That's a good Jersey Mike's.
Okay. Anybody in the audience want to? Nope. Nobody? Okay, I'll close the public hearing. I got to do it for the record. And with that, anybody have any other questions? And if not, the chair will entertain a motion on item number 3.
I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Dally?
In consideration of planning and zoning application number 251200021, I move that the board finds competent substantial evidence has been presented that satisfies the review criteria and approves the major site plan subject to the 3. This one was 3. Conditions provided by staff. I had them flip-flopped, I'm sorry. Did we get them to agree to? Yeah, I think he did.
They did.
Yeah, okay, good.
Did it in the beginning.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, Bobby, call the roll on item number 3.
Rich Daly,
Yes.
Tundra King,
Yes.
Gigi DeBeck,
Yes.
Paul Fisher,
Yes.
Robert Hartzell,
Yes.
Carla Coleman,
Yes.
Fred Stacer.
Yes. Thank you very much. Good luck. Okay. Good night.
Yeah. What's the
Whoops.
one from New York right now? Can we get a sweet green? Sweet green.
Sweet greens?
Sweet green. Sweet green would be great there, guys. Saying.
Yeah, there you go. Next item on the agenda is audience to be heard. We have no audience tonight. Move on to reports by staff. Mr. Williams, any report?
No, I have nothing to report. I just know that I started a theme of talking about the mixed-use developments and the businesses. It's been busy. I haven't gotten to it, so I have no new information. If you have anything you wish to share with me, I'd be happy to hear it.
Okay. Anybody?
I have one question for
Yes.
Max.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know I'm not in my order turn.
Go.
Tundra.
He's up.
The same project that we are just talking about, I'm sorry, I don't know the road, but it's just in between Wells Fargo Bank and the, I guess that's the Walmart gas station. I think the one of the problems at this business, people may access the business we just spoke of to come to the area. I want to say perhaps that we may need to revisit the height of the trees in the middle of, because there's always a lot of near miss accidents when people are trying to cross over from Wells Fargo and then cross over and go into Walmart. And I was just thinking people may want to use that thoroughfare. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the little
It's kind of a private street, right?
private
It's
street,
through the
right, right.
development,
I
yes.
think the problem may be the trees are too high in there. Maybe when we're taking a look at that, can we take a look at, I go to that's a little area right by my school, so I go there often, and I always see people, and I think, in all fairness to them, I think the trees may be too high in that area. So with this project coming up, can we take a look at that as well?
Certainly. Sometimes when trees haven't been trimmed in a while, the branches hang lower than their, if maintained, are we require trees at a certain height so that there is clearance. And so if the trees haven't been trimmed in a while, they end up drooping like this, and it obscures what would otherwise be a clear view of these intersections or whatever it might be obscuring. So certainly we can look at what was required at time of install, if they're in the right locations and the right tree heights, and then maybe it's a maintenance issue.
And that might help with our lighting, because you'll see when
Once
you
the trees
go.
are clear, maybe get more light.
Right. So
But I
you'll see when you
have
go
a feeling
there.
it's probably a combination of things.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Max.
Sure.
Okay. All right, so board member discussion. Mr. Dally, you have anything for us?
I'd just like to commend, and I know this is not our board, but the Parks and Rec Department did a fantastic job this year with the softball for the girls 7 and 9. I had the pleasure of coaching one of the teams, and while we didn't win it all, the team in Parks and Rec did a fantastic job. So kudos all around to all of you, Jackie and the team there, Parks and Rec. We had a great season.
Good. Okay. Mr. Fisher?
No report tonight. Only one thing I do want to comment. I love our discussion up here and our dialogue through these agenda items. I know we've talked about it before, and it's refreshing to have that, and everybody has different questions, different opinions, and I just love that. So just want to commend us, I guess, as a board. So.
Okay. Mrs. Coleman?
I'm going to do Bobby's job tonight and remind everybody that next month, I was reviewing the calendar for next month today, and we'll be here at 5 o'clock. the CIP meeting on June 24th,
Okay.
in case you hadn't marked it on your calendar already.
Do we need to be present for that? Like, I don't think I can make it for 5 o'clock, but I'd still like to be present for the meeting. Like, is this a situation where you need to fill my spot for the CIP, or is it a situation where
I don't think so.
Yeah.
We'll
it's just a presentation only, correct? Yeah. So okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
I can make it for the 6 o'clock start time. I just will not be here for the CIP portion of it.
Okay. Mrs. King?
No, thank you. I've always asked my question to Max. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Hartzell?
I'll let you slide, Max, on the mixed use this month. But I just, I echo Mr. Daly's thoughts on us coming together and Mr. Fisher's thoughts on the same. I always think we have a good discussion. We don't always agree, but sometimes we agree to disagree on some of our projects. I think I was well educated by staff on all the, particularly the big one today. I appreciate it. I appreciate everything they did to get us to a finish line, no matter which side of the V you were on. So, with that, I have nothing else. I'll see you all at 5 o'clock next month.
Okay. Mrs. Dubek?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have anything tonight either. It's hard to believe, I know. But with that, we will.